How to impress the subconscious mind. So, obviously, this is a no-brainer. When you get into manifestation, everybody talks about needing to impress the subconscious mind. And honestly, that is the only thing you need to do. But the big question here is, how do you do it? How do you impress your subconscious mind? Well, we're going to get into that. And this is, look at this. We got the brain, and then we got two people. We have the master at manifesting, and we have, well, me when I first started. Okay, so here, affirmations going straight into the dome ski. This one is hitting a wall, an invisible barrier that is not allowing you to get your manifestation. Now, we all would love to live life without the invisible barrier, but there is a couple things you need to know, and that's what we are going to break down. So, let's impress the subconscious mind. Honestly, what I do here on my channel is I always go over the definition of manifestation first before I get into everything else. Because I'm not going to lie, most people's definition of manifestation is so ass backwards that they never manifest. So what would that definition be? The definition of manifestation is giving something to yourself as if it's already done until you no longer want it. Now that's, again, a little bit different than what you have probably heard if you've never seen my content, because everyone talks about manifestation as that, oh, I need to do this to get, I need to do this technique to get this outcome. And that is our logical minds. Manifestation is not a logical process. We're giving ourselves something that isn't in front of us, but as it's done until we no longer want it. That is manifestation, and to do that, you need to get away from the logical mind of doing to get, and instead saying, I am to be. And we'll get into that, but here, let's go on to the next board. So, as stated earlier, to manifest, we need to impress the subconscious mind. Now, to do that, we need to access the subconscious mind. A lot of people can be doing the right stuff, saying the right stuff, but not actually accessing the subconscious mind. Now, how do we do that? How do we access the subconscious mind? Well, here this is, let's say this is you, the faceless wonder god, because I forgot to draw a fucking face on this guy, and you're saying your affirmations. This is the subconscious mind, and as the invisible barrier that I talked about earlier, this is your conscious mind. It is a barrier to the subconscious, and it is meant to protect this at all costs, because the subconscious mind creates our reality. Whatever is believed to be true will be true, and we'll kind of go over that a little bit later, but right now we're getting ahead of ourselves. But the conscious mind, which is your mind that is always active, is meant to protect the subconscious mind, because it's the most important part of your whole entire life, okay? Now, you need to shut this down. You need to literally break this wall down to actually access this, to be able to manifest effectively, okay? Because you can ram it in there and eventually break through this wall, but we don't want to do that. It creates frustration. It really just pisses a lot of people off. So how do we actually access the subconscious mind? Well, these are the wavelengths that the mind function in. It's gamma, beta, alpha, theta, and delta. Now let's go over kind of what these waves look like. So gamma, it's the fastest of the waves. The faster the waves, the less access we have to the subconscious mind, okay? So this is what you normally function in, is gamma and beta. And these two are pretty fast, okay? It's very difficult to manifest from beta and gamma because you're going straight into the conscious mind. You're going to battle within yourself, and it's very, very ineffective. Now, Getting down into the sweet spot is alpha, theta, and delta. Now, alpha is a little bit bigger. It's like this. It's not ideal, but yes, this is better than these two. This is when you're starting to get relaxed. Then you have theta. This is the sweet spot, theta. This is where you ideally want to be. When you're waking up and you're going to sleep, theta is really what you're going to be in. And again, theta is the sweet spot because you're conscious enough to think and control your imagination, but your conscious mind is fully shut off. This is the sweet spot right here, theta. You want to be in theta, and we'll kind of go over how to get into that. But then you have delta, which is basically when you're asleep. And you're wide open. There's no conscious mind involved. You're basically asleep. But when you're in this, yes, you can manifest from this, but it's very difficult to control your imagination from this point because, again, you're basically falling asleep. Now, if we know to access the subconscious mind, we need to break down the conscious mind, and, well, to do that, it's most readily available in theta specifically, and then you can also do it in alpha and delta, but most importantly, theta. So how do we get to theta? Well, to get to theta and to know you've gotten to theta, you need to be relaxed. And you can really feel that. I mean, when you are in theta, it's like that either you feel very, very light or you feel very, very heavy. It's like when you're asleep but you're awake. Your body is asleep, your mind is awake, so you can still think, you can affirm, you can visualize, you can do all the things that help you manifest from this state. Now, what do I do to get myself there? Okay, so what I will do throughout a day is, let's say, for example, I'm sitting down in my chair and I'm getting ready to meditate. If I'm worked up and I'm not actually fully relaxed, I will either do some breath work, sit and meditate, which is basically just sitting in silence and doing nothing, or I'll put my headphones on and literally just go search up theta soundscape or something like that. It's like a theta frequency, and you'll sit there and you'll do some breath work to it. Maybe I do it for maybe 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how overstimulated I am. And yeah, it really helps me out because it puts you in the theta, and then you can meditate or say whatever you're saying to then get everything you're saying into the subconscious mind. And that is ideal because impressing the subconscious mind manifests into our reality. Now, what is the process of manifestation? Now that we know how to impress the subconscious mind, how do we walk our way into our new reality? So let's kind of go over that. Let's go into the next board. So now that we know how to actually access the subconscious mind, how do we impress it? How do we actually get our manifestations? Now, this is a very misconstrued topic. People do not really understand the delivery system of the universe, meaning they will go about trying to manifest and not actually know how it happens. And if you don't know how it happens, well, you're always going to be stuck. You'll never know how you manifested the shit you manifested. And then the stuff that you can't manifest, you won't know why you can't. So to shut the ego off, you need to know the how. Now, this starts with energy, goes to frequency, intuition, action or inaction, then to reality every single time. But what do these mean? Okay, it's very simple. Energy. Thoughts and emotions. Now, emotions are literally just thoughts that change how you view yourself. Because you can have thoughts and doesn't matter at all. But if you will have certain thoughts, that will actually change how you view yourself. That is what I mean by emotion. And then we'll go into frequency. Now, what is this? That'd be your subconscious mind, or what I like to call your identity. Okay? And we'll go over why I say identity here. But this is basically what's impressed in your subconscious mind. Your frequency is like an antenna that sets off the rest of reality creation. And then you have intuition. Now, what is intuition? Okay, a lot of people get this wrong. It's the inner teaching of the version you are being. So of your frequency. If you're maintaining a frequency of, I make X amount of money, your intuition will be that of X amount of money. Then we have action or action. Your intuition will set off like mental nudges to yourself and others to do or not do something to create the reality of your frequency. So that's how that works. So your thoughts and emotions will lead into your frequency, which is just your identity or whatever is impressed into the subconscious mind, which will then lead to intuition, which we know is just the inner teaching of the frequency that you are maintaining, which will then send out mental nudges or, your intrusive thoughts to do or not to do with everybody involved that needs to bring you that reality. Simple, right? Now, a lot of people get that wrong because they're like, well, all I need to do is energy, blah, 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 blah. But they don't understand what is conceptually happening here. A lot of people will go on TikTok and they'll see, oh, they said to affirm, so I'm going to affirm to change my reality. Now, the action of affirming can come from action or inaction, okay? A lot of you guys will say, I do not have what I want. You'll be like, oh, man, I really, really want what I want. I need it, I'm going to affirm all day, and you're still looking for it. You're coming from the energy of not having this thing, which is a frequency of not having, which will give you the intuition of not having, leads to the action or inaction of not having, which will lead to reality of not having. So you need to understand that this isn't meant for you to go on there and be like, I don't have this thing, let me do this. No. You're saying, I am. I am this thing. Not to get it, but to become it. You are it as soon as you say you are. And that's kind of a little way people view this. And if you view it as, oh, I'm doing to get, you're going to run into more trouble. But if you view it as, no, I just am this thing, I'm reminding myself of who I am, then you're actually going to have a lot more success with this, okay? So, delivery system of the universe, like I said, let's say you are manifesting your health. So you say, I am healthy in your energy. That's who you are. Then your identity, your subconscious, your frequency will be that of health. Then intuition of health, action or inaction of healthy to a reality of healthy every single time. Okay? That is just how it works. And now you know, one, how to access the subconscious mind, and two, how reality delivers all of your manifestations. Not just what you're consciously telling yourself. You're always manifesting. So it doesn't matter what is you're consciously doing. You still have energy about every single subject because you always have an identity and you always have a subconscious. So whatever you believe to be true about yourself is always creating reality. So this is the delivery system of the universe. And now there's a couple little things that need to be known. We're going to kind of go over what it is and what I do to manifest, and then some things that you cannot fall into. So let's go into the next board. So before I get into what I do to manifest, like my whole process and what I recommend for you guys, we need to go over the subconscious mind trap, because this is something that I fell into for years until I figured this out. So a lot of people, they know how to manifest. It leads people to the road of what? Doing to get. And we talked a little bit about that, but doing to get, which is the same thing as going and forcing the 3D. Now you can do to get internally too. And like I said, the definition of manifestation is giving something to yourself as if it's already done until you no longer want it, and saying, I need to do this thing to get is effort. And effort shows you are trying to do something to get, and effort means you do not have. Okay, so the trap that a lot of people fall into, again, is doing to get. Now, this is the reality formula that I've came up with. Not the delivery system, but the formula. So, this is current reality to awareness to new reality. This is how everything happens, okay? Just like the delivery system, but this kind of shows that this is a dead world, okay? So everything you see currently was because of a previous awareness, because awareness leads to a new reality. So, if you know this to be true, then you are your awareness. You are not your current reality. Okay, because again, if everything in your current reality is a dead world, that means your physical body and your intrusive thoughts are what? They're a dead version of you. The real you is up here in your mind, which again, doing to get is stating your awareness of not having, which leads you in a cycle of not getting it. Okay, so you need to ignore your current reality because it's dead. Even this version of you is dead. Your intrusive thoughts dead. You are your awareness, which is your energy and your frequency. So what you believe yourself to be up here. Now, what perception saved me from this subconscious mind trap, okay? And it's this. It's the third person perception, okay? If we know our current reality is dead and that we are awareness, a lot of people can hear this but still struggle when their current reality throws them stuff in front of them, throws them intrusive thoughts, negative feelings, and they'd be like, oh, I just need to say my affirmations more. I need to say this thing more, which is another version of doing to get, and it's very tricky, okay? And this is the perception that kind of saved me to get away from this. And it's the third person perspective, or you could call it the narrator perspective. So from here, what I do, let's say I'm manifesting $1,000 a day. What will happen is you will get some pushback from your current reality, whether that be intrusive thoughts or stuff you are seeing happen. And with that, a lot of people think I need to do more, but this is what I do. I treat myself as a narrator. And I will have some negative thoughts, and let's say they come up and I'm like, oh, Aiden is still aware of not making $1,000 a month or not having enough money. Be like, oh, but I do, because I'm my awareness. I'm not this. I am awareness. I am all that is. So you're starting to narrate everything that is going on in your brain, in your body, what you feel like, what's happening in front of you. Be like, oh, Aiden's going through that. Good thing I'm this. And it's a light bulb moment because you're automatically brought above ego. And a lot of you guys are relating to this physical body and trying to manifest it, struggling because you're having a battle of selves. So to avoid that, go above yourself. Okay, go above yourself. It's like, oh, Aiden's going through that. Good thing I do make $1,000 a month. Good thing I am in that relationship. And you see it completely dissolves current reality because you are moving yourself into a constant state of awareness. And that is how you beat the trap. You see what I mean? So now let's go on to exactly what I do to manifest my reality. Let's go on to the next board. So now that we know all the do's and don'ts of manifestation and how to impress the subconscious mind, well, this is my daily manifestation routine. Now, do you have to follow this? No, but this is what I would recommend is it covers all bases, okay? So, in the morning, I wake up, I grab my headphones immediately, I put on a theta, this rainstorm thing that I do, set a 10 to 15 minute timer so I don't fall asleep. Do you have to do this? No, but I will fall asleep if I don't. And then I do X technique until satisfied, and I repeat for 2 to 3 desires, max. Sometimes I only do 1. I don't suggest you do more than 3. It's just too much mental energy. You only have so much to go around in a day. So I'd pick at most 3 desires to work on every day. And I usually affirm just because I am not the biggest fan of visualization. I'm not saying it does not work. Everything you do works. I just prefer affirming. So I will affirm until satisfied, which meaning I no longer want to say it or until the timer goes off. And then repeat for 2 to 3 desires max. And then, I may or may not look over my little list that I have of who I am, of broad details. I'll look it over once. You can do that. You don't have to. But that's what I do. I like to do it before I start my day. And then at night, I do some breath work to really calm myself down. I find myself more overstimulated at the end of the day, more in gamma, obviously, versus when you wake up. You're automatically in theta. And then I do the same process in the morning. Grab my headphones, set a timer so I don't fall asleep, and repeat X technique until satisfied for my desires that I want to go over. And then I will script. Now, what is scripting? Because I didn't go over this in this video, but scripting is literally like real life Photoshop. If I find it necessary to where like I had some things go wrong throughout the day that I just didn't like and I want to change some of the details, I'll grab a notebook and I'll go through and I'll rewrite the day with every detail as if it was how I wanted. And then I will go to bed. It is very, very simple. Now, the key point is to carry this into your day-to-day life because a lot of people will do morning and nighttime stuff, but during the day they do nothing. Now, what I suggest and what I do is I don't force anything throughout the day. If you know you have these things, you're just going to be living your life. But what I do like to do when these things do come up is, one, I'm always in narrator mode when I'm going throughout the day. It's a constant state of awareness where if it's stuff is popping up that I do not like, I'm like, oh, Aiden's going through this. Good thing that I have blank. And that is a must. You stay in a constant state of narration, so you're narrating this version of you because you are not it, you are your awareness. I always do that, and if something comes up to where, let's say I'm manifesting something and the negative comes up, I'll narrate, and then I will robotically remind. Very similar to robotic affirming, but robotically remind is just, you're changing this because you're not affirming you're just reminding yourself who you already are. And I'll do that until I no longer want to say it, as it naturally leaves my mind. And this is legitimately all I'll do during the day. Now, will I meditate during the day? Sometimes. But most of the time, I'm literally just doing the narrator, and then I'm going and robotically reminding myself who I am. If something comes up, and then I do it until I no longer want to say it, then yeah, that is all you need to do. And this is what I would recommend you do when you are trying to manifest. It's what I teach all my clients as well. So, yeah, now you know how to impress the subconscious mind. You know the delivery system of the universe, and you know exactly what to do to manifest all your goals. So, there it is. I will see you guys in the next one.